Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're going to demystify a term you might hear on a construction site, but one that has some massive financial and legal strings attached: beneficial occupancy. So here's our game plan. We're going to kick things off with a super common scenario, the almost done project. Then, we'll nail down what beneficial occupancy actually means, untangle it from a term it's often confused with, and then really get into why this one moment in time is so critical for a project's success. All right, let's dive in. And we'll start with a scene that I'm sure most of us have seen before, even if we didn't have a name for it. It seems like a pretty straightforward question, doesn't it? But, the answer is way more complicated than you might think. Is it finished when the last screw is tightened, or when the final inspector signs off? Well, the reality is, it's often something else entirely. I want you to really picture this. Inside, it's business as usual, people are at their desks, meetings are happening, but you look out the window and there are still crews working outside. This phase, this almost done period where the owner is already in, it has a specific name and it has huge consequences for everyone. So, what do we actually call this stage? Well, that brings us right to our key term, beneficial occupancy. Okay, the official definitions here is very, very precise, and for a good reason. You got to pay attention to two key phrases: for its intended purpose and non-essential work remains. When you put those together, it basically means the company can get in there and start doing what it needs to do, even if some of the smaller stuff, what contractors call the punch list, still needs to be wrapped up. So, functionally complete. That's the heart of it. It means the critical systems are good to go. The servers in the data center are running. The factory's assembly line is moving. Employees can actually do their jobs. That last coat of paint in the hallway, that can happen while business is already rolling. All right, this part is huge because this is where a lot of the confusion happens. You've probably heard the term substantial completion, and you might think it's the same thing. They sound similar, but believe me, legally and financially, they're two very different milestones. Here is the easiest way to think about it. Beneficial occupancy is all about usability. Can the owner use the space for what it was built for? Substantial completion, on the other hand, is about completeness. Is the construction work pretty much all done? You can definitely have one without the other, and that difference is absolutely critical in any contract. So we know what it is, but why is this one term such a big deal in contracts and project management? Well, because hitting this stage isn't just checking a box on a calendar. It sets off a chain reaction of really important changes. The second an owner takes beneficial occupancy, it's like a whole set of dominoes starts to fall. All of a sudden, risk and responsibility get handed over from the contractor to the owner. Think about it. Who's paying the power bill now? Who's responsible if something gets broken? And those warranties on the big expensive stuff like the HVAC system or the elevators? Yep, the clock on those just started ticking. And for the contractor, their job just got a whole lot more complicated. This quote just nails the real-world challenge. What used to be a construction zone is now an active office. Suddenly, the crew might need security badges to get in. They have to keep the noise way down. They're literally trying to work around people who are trying to work. Each one of those little things just eats away at their productivity. And that lost time, it translates directly into more money. A 10% drop in productivity might not sound like a disaster, but on a huge job, that can mean thousands and thousands of dollars in extra costs every single day. Okay, let's bring it all home with our final point. Let's look at how this all fits into the bigger picture of what makes a project truly successful, because it's about so much more than just contracts and dates. This is where the human element really shines through. Getting to this point isn't just about a checklist. It is a true test of the entire relationship between the owner and the contractor. It really demands cooperation. And if this transition goes badly, it can sour an otherwise great project and lead straight to some very expensive arguments. So ultimately, I'll leave you with this question to think about. Maybe the real measure of a project's success isn't the big ribbon-cutting ceremony. Maybe it's actually how smoothly and cooperatively this almost done phase is managed, making sure that what was a construction site one day becomes a fully functioning business the next.